If you are, we have a separate section for the question answer. I think we should start. Okay, so so we are going to have a like basic 1.5 hours of workshop. We're going to have a directly professional level edition. We don't go into the basic details, but wherever required, team can raise a question and we will solve the basic problem, because this is completely going to be practical. We'll go through each and every concept and basically choose why to use, how to use, where to use. Okay, these are the basic things which are going to help you while implementing in the your professional experience. Okay, this is the basic crux of this workshop. Okay, in terms of the agenda, we'll go through the basic introduction of myself. Okay, then we'll go through the basics. Okay, normally what happens when we tell what is full stack development, what exactly stack means, what is the full stack development. So I just wanted to go with those details, and then we can shift to our core agenda of our workshop. Okay, then we'll go to the .NET backend architecture. What are the different components need to be taken care at the backend part. Then we'll shift to the front end part. Then we'll discuss what are the different components that will help us to design a front end level application using Angular. Okay, we'll go through the architecture fidelity diagram. Okay, where we can understand what are the different components lies at what layer. Okay, we'll check what is the API request cycle. Okay, then definitely comes with the basic testing part. Okay, so when we go with the full stack development, you are expected to have all basic testing that is expected from you. Minimum unit testing and integration testing that is expected from you. Okay, so I have prepared some basic code snippet. Okay, that we will go through. Okay, and we'll give you the idea what exactly we have written. Okay, so we will discuss what is basic mini project that is expected to like develop during this workshop. Okay, maybe after you can add the more feature after this workshop. We'll just go to the basic architecture of the this application that we are going to design. Okay, and the major part that we are going to you are going to get this from this workshop is that what are the expectations and what are the skill set that is required from full stack development when you are going to go for an interview. Okay, then what are the role based expectation if you are like beginner 0 to 2 point of experience, then your major experience of 4 to 5. What are the expectations from your end that we are going to discuss at the end of this workshop, that's going to help you in during your interview process. Okay, this is the agenda that we are going to do. Okay, so let me go to the brief introduction of myself. Okay, so I'm having total 12.6 years of experience in IT industry. Okay, so I'm currently working as a T-shaped professional. So I'm having experience from the web application development, mobile application development, cloud. Okay, database related stuff. So versatility based on the type of technology and different stacks. Okay, so current with respect to the current designation, I'm currently working as application development architecture, where dealing with the system design, cloud infrastructure, and client communication with the help of the providing solutioning to the team. Okay, so I have started my career with a quick hill. Last company I worked with was Microsoft, and recently changed company called as Emergis. So as I said, I have experience with the mobile and web application development. So I experience with the Android, iOS with both native and external. Okay, so we can have a discussion with the cloud and DevOps practices during this one. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that I am also regular text interview with this. I have different organization register where I take interviews for the different candidates. People also approach me for the mock interviews. So this is the basic profile that I regularly work on. These are the basic contact details that you can connect with me. The LinkedIn profile, Gmail ID. There is one my portfolio that I created using the uh, um, GitHub site, and this is my contact number. This is all about myself. Okay, let's start with the basic introduction. Okay, basic introduction of our technology stack. Okay, so when we think about technology stack, so what things coming to your mind? Can someone tell me what exactly technology stack means?
As it is mentioned in the slide, right?
Yeah,
Across
yeah,
front
but
end,
your
back
point of
end.
view, your point of view, yeah. So what exactly, when you listen the term the technology stack, what exactly term coming to your mind?
When I think about technology stack, I can think around .NET, JavaScript, Angular, HTML. Like, what are the different technology I'm going to use for my project development?
Yeah, correct. Okay, so this is the overall definition. So what are the different layers, okay, of an application? Okay, so here are different layers are mentioned over here: front end, back end, database. At each layer, you have a choice of multiple technologies. Okay, so on front end, your choice of Angular, React, Vue. Even when you are going for the MVC, then you can properly write down code into the proper JavaScript or jQuery. So you are on front end technology, your layer, you have multiple options of the technology. So when we think about the designing an application, you have to think about the selecting a particular technology at each layer. Okay, so technology stack means selecting a technology that is present for a layer that will help you to design a application. Okay, so for example, there are more famous stack like Merge stack, Mongo, Express.js, React, and Node. This is the complete stack. So here we are database is Mongo. Okay, on Express framework is going to be a backend part. React is a front end part, and the application is going to be Node. This is completely, you are going to get a complete package for each layer of technology that you are going to take care with the technology stack. Okay, there are more famous stacks are available like mean stack, merge stack. So previously there, when we previously were like there was a trend of using lamp XAMPP, where people were using the PHP script for the, along with the uh, Unix and Windows WAMP and XAMPP servers using the MySQL server. So technology stacks differs to the all level of technology present at each level to build an application. Okay, any question in this? Okay, got it. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Okay, then what comes to the full stack development? Okay, so all it is explained in the way. So one technology stack means like, so normally what happens in industry, so when we have a development in a tech stack, so what will people say? That I'm a front end developer, I only take care of the front end stuff. Okay, I work on the Angular, I take care of the API integration, I take care of the business logic, I take care of the front end validation. Okay, there is someone who is taking care of the backend API development, adding the validation logic, writing business logic, database access layer. Okay, the roles gets isolated based on the layer. Okay, so but full stack developer are the people who understand end-to-end life cycle of building, deploying, and maintaining the application. Means a person or the developer who is taking care of development from front end, who is taking care of like writing the complete logic on the front end, then communicating with the backend. Okay, what are the integration mechanism that you're using, whether you're using REST API, GraphQL, or the any other technology using the push notifications like WebSocket. What are the technologies that is required to communicate out to the backend? Then backend services, database design, and familiarly when you are going to deploy some of the deployment technology. Okay, so this is the, when you are saying that you know about any full stack development, so you should have the knowledge of all the layers of each technology. At least, for example, you are saying one stack, so means you are aware about front end, back end, what are the communication mechanism that you are using between the front end and back end, database, and the deployment architecture. So you cannot say that I just know a front end and back end, I can prepare API and consume it on the front end. So this is not just a full stack skill set. Okay, so when you are thinking about, so that comes with the no functional requirement. So for example, when we design any application, so there are two types of requirement: functional requirement, where you fulfill the business requirement. Okay, so you just should be able to log in, you just should able to reset the password. Okay, so these are the functional requirement. Now, what are non-functional requirement? Okay, so non-functional requirement are your application should be secure. Your application should be 24/7 available. Your application should handle the errors. Your application should not it should not be vulnerable to the security threats. Okay, these are the non-functional requirements. So these are the add-on capabilities that will add to your full stack development skill set. Those are recommended when you say that I know about the full stack development. Okay, yeah. These are all about the full stack development. You got the idea? Any question in this?
One quick clarification, Ashish.
Yeah.
Normally, with full stack development,
Mhm.
what will be the ratio, like the percentage of front end part and back end part? Like one can be very strong in back end and one can be very good in front end, right? So, when will we call like 50-50 to should be a full stack developer, or it can be
Yeah.
60-40 or 70-30?
Okay, so yeah, okay, definitely what happens, okay, so whenever you're onboarded to team, it definitely take based on your requirement, okay, but normally based on my recommendation, it should be 50-50 because you cannot say if you are hired as a full stack development, you means your the expectations are you know about the front end, you know about the back end, okay, so you cannot say I know bit about the front end, I know bit about the back end. The expectation set to handle the both part, okay, front end and backward. So we are not just, that's why I said you are only focusing on the front end. The along with the full stack development, you are expected to have a database as well, okay. So right now you the third part will be added as a database design. So even like you are not considering that part, so full stack development also consider the database design as well. So you should be
Okay.
capable enough to design a schema, make it optimize, design indexing, writing proper queries. Okay. So identifying the bottlenecks of optimized query. So this is so where this developer plays an important role. So normally when a team, maybe a rapid application development, where a complete development life cycle given to you to develop a complete feature. So if you are taking care of only backend part, so you need to be dependent on the front end part related to someone else. So if you know about everything, so complete feature of the development you can take care, starting from the front end design, API development, database design, and deploy. So you will be whole and sole responsible for the application that you can take care as a responsible full stack developer. Like
Understood.
yeah.
Understood. Like, what about DevOps here? Like,
Yeah,
we
DevOps.
should.
DevOps is like maybe you can keep it optional because there could be some chances where people are dedicated team where you will be there to handle the DevOps part. But my recommend is that you should have basic knowledge. For example, so if they are preparing the kind of build pipeline script, you should be able to understand. Not, I'm not saying you should be able to write the DevOps script, okay, YML script, but you should understand what are the different steps you have taken. Okay, so I will give you an example why you need that. For example, so consider you have prepared a .NET application and it is building on your locally. So what are the steps you have taken? You have taken the source code, you have restored the packages, you have built the application, okay, you have tested the application, and you are running the application. These are the 5 steps you are running locally and which is perfectly fine. Okay, those are the same scripts, those are the same steps written in the build pipeline, but which is failing. Okay, so you can check the pipeline's code in the script and compare with your existing code. So what are the steps that I'm missing? Okay, what where I'm going like. For example, sometimes what happen? So you are working on a .NET Core 6 framework. Okay, on local you are restoring .NET Core 6. Okay, but in the pipeline code you are restoring .NET Core 8. Okay, so you can identify difference. So if you know the process of build pipeline, you can easily compare with the regular development and you can tell, okay, this is the difference, and you can communicate with the DevOps team and solve the problem quickly. And definitely it will be add-on skill to your profile as well. But that is not compulsory, that is more recommended.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So when okay. So we as we discussed, there are multiple layers. Okay. So in a layered architecture, okay. So normally what happens? So previously, when there was no concept of single page application, whether it could be Angular or the React. So what previously people were doing, they were using MVC, where the complete okay UI is being prepared on the back end and being served to the front end. Okay, so there is no front end logic is being there. There were some kind of validation logic which was being taken care using the Ajax or kind of stuff, but pages were delivered from the back end. So could you please tell me? Can someone tell me why there is a need of dedicated Angular, React, or Vue, a front end technology? when we have like a pages being served from there. Why there is specific need of such technology like Angular or React?
Hello.
Yeah,
Sir, when previously how it was a server-side rendering, so the views
correct,
were completely the HTML was created on the backend, and
correct.
we used to give the prepared HTML on the backend. But later
Mhm.
on, it become such that we needed a single page application, and when the user clicked, there used to be a complete page reload, and again the request used to go to the backend, and again we have
Mhm.
to create a new HTML. So that why we came with a plan to segregate the front end and back end, so that
Okay,
backend will only manage to give the JSON format, and all the UI will be created in the front end, and we created index.html, and so that routing happens on the front end only.
correct, correct. So you are segregating the responsibility of front end and back end. Okay. So front end logic. So that is big that you said that validation, basic sanitization of data. Okay, rendering UI that is being completely taken care by the front end. And right now browsers are more capable. Okay, so as these are the technology are running on the front end side, which has a strong business logic of writing. So it creates the complete UI, manipulates the DOM and create a view for the user and render the what are the logic that we have written. Okay, and the data communication happens to the cross-platform technology data format like JSON, XML, or the like other OML format, which are being transferred on the front end side and which can be iterated or we can manage to show the perfect UI. Okay, here on the presentation layer, the technologies like Angular will exist. So where they are taking care of writing the logic which going to be executed on front end. Okay. So right now, people, you might have aware that right now every technology has started adding the server side rendering as well. So why we are shifting back to the server side rendering, and in specific reason we are shifted from server side rendering to client side rendering, and again we are going back to the server side rendering. And specific reason, any idea?
No, sir, no
You
idea.
you mean
Okay,
you
yeah,
mean
got it.
the Blazor you are referring to, sir?
No, Blazor is similar kind of MVC architecture. Okay, where you are. So I'm saying inside Angular itself, we are getting feature of server side rendering. In React, we are getting feature of server side rendering. Correct. Although it is
Yeah,
a front end technology, but we are getting option of server side rendering. Correct. Why it is so?
yeah.
Okay, so when we design application which is a front end side, which is not SEO friendly. Okay, so whenever we are going to any kind of add tags which are going to be created on the dynamically based on the data that cannot be added as a, so when these pages are being scrapped or the kind of crawled by any tools. So what are the technology that we use? It is not supporting with when we are going with the such technology to support SEO and crawling feature. We are giving the option of the server side rendering. Second, so what are the pages that is coming here? So it creates a time. Okay, although we have feature of lazy loading, eager loading in terms of the Angular as well. Okay, but when we load the application, so it brings the data. Okay, it convert into the proper business process into the business logic, prepare a UI, then render. So it consumes some of the time. So whichever where are the pages which are lightweight, we just need to show the data kind of. So those pages can be built from the backend, cached and can be served to it. So what are the time that we are consuming to prepare the UI on the front end side, that also can be saved. Okay, along with this server side rendering, we are getting option to make a use of hybrid one. Okay, some of the pages will be the rendered from the backend, so which can be directly fetched from the backend and directly rendered to the UI, and some of the pages that can be you can create render specifically on the front end side. Okay, these are the core reasons. That's why everyone is shifting to the server side rendering part. Okay, yeah, let's move to the backend part. So okay, so here first layer is only taking care of the entire, if you're taking care of entire architecture. So if you're taking front end, back end and database, so presentation layer will take place with the help of Angular. Okay, API layer, which is going to be endpoint, business layer, and data access layer, will be part of backend technology that is being served as a core business logic. Okay, so what are the core business logic that is present? Okay, data access layer will be part of .NET. Okay, so what present in API layer? Okay, so API layer contains the all endpoints which will HTTP REST APIs. Okay, those are going to have a properly based on the HTTP methods: get, post, put, patch, delete. Okay, based on the type of data action that you are taking care, will help you to write down the these controller methods. Okay, so here are the different security mechanism you can add to validate those requests, like authentication, authorization, rate limiting, throttling. Okay, cross-site scripting attack, DDoS, this kind of all this kind of stick you can add this level. Okay, once you get data at this controller level, you need to sanitize it. Okay, so this is going to be two level of sanitization. So whatever data is being added on the UI, okay, it is transferred through network and goes to the backend. So in between, it might get sniffed, altered by the attacker. So second level of checks is expected in the control layer. So you need to get the data, validate it, then you should only pass it to the business layer to perform the business logic. Okay, in the business logic, you can have a multiple layers of business logic. So you can if we take example of e-commerce system, so if we take care of place order, okay, this is the one API. So when you place order, you just not to create a one order into the database. What you need to do, you need to create a shipment, you need to book an inventory, you need to notify a user. There are multiple. So based on this business operation, you need to call the different services and perform the operations. Okay, then comes with the data access layer. Here there are multiple ways to handle this data access layer. Okay, so previously people were directly using the stored procedures. So what are the logic that is present in the stored procedure, which almost equivalent to the database business logic. Okay, so whatever the thinking, so it as stored procedures are pre-compiled and it is faster in execution. So most of people prefer to keep the all business logic, but it invalidates the principle that logical isolation of the code. Okay, segregation of logic. So you are mixing database logic along with the business logic. So it is recommended to have a business logic in a business logic itself in a .NET Core. You just need to take care of the pitching logic from the database access layer. Okay, can anyone tell me why one, and there is one more reason that we should not keep the business logic in database layer instead of business layer?
We will call it as separation of concern, right?
Yeah, separate concern. Yeah, because if we are shifting our logic to database layer, we are invalidating this principle. Correct?
You're right. Yeah.
Correct. There is a one more reason we should not keep our business logic in the database.
It will be tightly business logic and data access will be tightly coupled, right?
Yeah, that is like same with the separation of concerns. There is a more important like reason that we should not keep the business logic in the. Okay, so I'll tell you. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The repository pattern, right? We have to follow repository pattern.
Correct.
The concrete non-concrete class depend on the concrete class, right?
Yes, but we should write the business logic in C#.NET or the backend technology. Why?
Yes.
So as we have one reason of separation of concern, we should have logical separation of responsibility between database and business layer. There is a one more reason, okay, to keep this.
Okay.
So that's what I'm asking. So I'll tell you. Okay, so tell me. So if you are writing
Ashish,
business, yeah, go ahead.
second reason, I think if we change the database, then the business logic can also break.
Yeah, correct. That is one more reason. Okay, but one more reason. Okay, so there are multiple reasons. You are correct. This is the one of the most important reason. Right now, you are SQL Server. If you are shifting to MySQL, you need to update that logic, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
There is one more important reason. Thank you for bringing this point. Okay, so I'll tell you. Okay, so if you are writing logic inside the database, okay, what happens? Your application goes having the millions of users. How can you scale this business logic to serve the millions of customers? Can you do that? Because you have only one database. Even though you have a replica, you cannot scale it. You will can just make it replica. So when you can write the logic into business layer, you can easily scale the business layer. You can create a multiple copies or the multiple instance of your business layer or the backend that can serve the request, and you can serve the multiple requests. Okay, when you go with the like large scale enterprise scale application, this is the one of the important reason that will help you to create a business layer in a such a way that will can be scaled, and it can be used single database to solve the to serve the multiple requests. Okay, yeah,
So
this is one of
in database also, as you mentioned, we can create replicas like
correct.
master slave architecture to scale up the database components, right? So why can't we
Yeah,
achieve the same?
yeah, correct. But so for example, master say how many you will create instances, correct? So and one more thing, you need to predefine it. Okay, so in terms of the database, cannot scale it on the runtime basis, correct? But when you go with the instance basis, you can auto scale it. Okay, based on the number of requests, you can scale the number of instances, correct? Using the horizontal scaling.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and one more thing is like data replica. Replica is specifically for the replication of data, not intended for the replication of the business logic. Correct?
Yeah, we have partitioning and sharding for
Correct. Yeah,
like
that is for
like.
the dedicated for the data,
Correct.
not for the business logic. Yeah. Okay. So let's jump to the data access layer. Okay. So one way is like writing the logic into the stored procedure. Second is like writing your uh, data access logic inside the code with a raw queries. Okay. So you can write the select star from the table name inside the code, that you can create a connection and create a get the data from the database. Okay. Second way. Third way is like using any kind of ORM. Okay. Dapper, EF core. Hello. Okay, I think I'm getting echo. Okay. Okay, so these are the different ways to communication. So most preferred way is like right now in the in the era of rapid application development, when we go with the small scale application, when we have got small, you can easily select one of the ORM system, which will help you to create a CRUD operations with the simple 2 to 3 clicks, which will give you the complete database access control using the. But there are some pros and cons for the each methods. If you go with the ORMs, the when you have like complex queries, that time such kind of using ORM will have a kind of lot of problems. Okay, so that time you need to either select with the store procedure or either should go with the raw queries. Okay, this is the data access layer. The next layer is a database layer. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. When you have consider as a full stack development, you should consider this layer as an important layer. Okay, so in most of the organization, this is being taken care. So when you having a higher experience, okay, when a task is assigned to design a system, so you cannot just design a front end and a back end. You need to design from the bottom up approach. So bottom approach means like when you drill down the any application at the bottom layer, you need to identify what is the smallest building block of this system, what are the different entities of this system. For example, if you are designing the employee management system, okay, so it will have UI, it will have API, something. But what are the different core component or core entities of this one? So definitely they are going to be employee one entity, then department. It will have its own salary. It will have its joining data. So you will understand at the bottom level. So what are the different entities? How those are connected? Okay, what are the different ways I can have? Okay, based on this you can design a schema. Okay, so before designing schema, you need to check what kind of database style you are going to use, whether to go with the SQL data, whether to go with the no SQL data. Okay, so SQL basically works with when we have structural data in terms of the such kind of basically management system where you have all records. Okay, all record based data like student, employee, department, class, this kind of structure. When you go with the NoSQL, it's basically non-structured data. When we are not sure about the structure of data, for example, JSON data that is completely getting evolving. Okay, specifically it is being used where we have a kind of graph kind of structure where multiple nodes are there. Okay, JSON data like storing the uh, product attributes which are not fixed. Okay, for this kind of data you can define those schema into the NoSQL. Okay, so you have to take care each layer at each layer. Okay, understand the purpose of each layer. Okay, based on that design a solution for this layer and then connect to the next layer. Okay, so each layer is dependent on each other. Okay, you have to take care from the presentation layer till the database layer. Okay, any questions on this?
One quick
Hi,
question. Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. This N-layer architecture is like it's a monolith application. It supports monolith application or distributed applications like microservice as well.
Okay, yeah. So this is basically a generic stuff which can you can use it into the microservice as well as the monolith. Okay, basically this is the if we go and see the straightforward way, this is a monolithic architecture. Okay, but the between three layers, API layer, business layer, and data access layer. If we combine these one and prepare based on your business logic. Okay, for example, we let's take a previous example of e-commerce. If we divide this application to the dedicated business domain, like for example, product service, catalog service, shipping service, order service, these are the business, these are not anything to the technology. Okay, but
Hmm.
I can club this all three layers, API, business, and data. I can club this, put it into the single domain. Okay, so order service will have its own API, order service have its own business layer, order service have its own data access layer. Okay, this will be
Okay.
combined together and it will be served as a one order service. Similarly,
So
it
what?
can be done for.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What about the data part, sir? Like
Correct.
we'll have a
Yeah,
separate
yeah.
database for each of the service, or can we have central database?
Correct. I'm going over there. So let me explain just first. So same will happen with the other services. Okay. For database, you have options. Okay. So when you have a multi-tenancy, single tenancy, this kind of architecture you will get in the SaaS. Okay. But in terms of the microservices architecture, there are two ways: database per service model and shared database for all services. Okay. It has both pros and cons. So based on your requirement and based on the like what are the scenario that you are going to take care, that will decide the factor that which approach you are going to take. Okay, as you suggested, database service model. Okay, if you are selecting a database for each service independently, it is called a database service model. Order service will have its own database, it will only take care of that order service, order data, order item, and everything related to the order. Okay, then product service only take care of the product catalog, inventory service only take care of the product. But what happens, what will happen when you go and sorry, attain and like a consistency for this all table. So for example, once order is created, you need to book an inventory, correct? Once order is created, you need to create a shipment, so you need to create a distributed transaction management system, correct?
Like Saga, right?
Yeah, correct. Saga design pattern comes into the picture over here, where you will able to handle the distributed transactions using the Saga, whether you will go with the orchestrator or the choreography.
Sir,
Yeah,
one
Okay.
quick
right.
question.
Yes.
If we are segregating our business logic into our .NET, as you said, so suppose if there is any urgent production issue, so we need to redeploy the whole application, right? But if our business logic is in stored procedure, we need to just alter the query. Then how to handle these cases when we are
Correct.
encountering?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Each approach has its pros and cons, correct?
Yes,
So,
sir.
as you said that for this approach, this is the benefit that you need not to redeploy the application. You just need to update the database. Okay, yeah, just update store procedure query, and that will help you to update the store procedure, and further logic will be get shifted to the updated store procedure. This is the benefit of the using store procedure, correct? But do you really think that you are going to do the update store procedure call on the database, production database? Definitely you will need to have kind of proper testing and everything. So definitely it is good, you can do it, but it will have a same kind of risk that you can go with that one. So although it is a beneficial in that case where when you are using the store procedure, definitely that will become a problem when you write the that business logic into the backend code.
Uh, Ashish sir, I do have
Yeah.
one question.
Yes.
Like in our current application, we are if we have a complex logic, so we are going with the store procedure. So can we do the same in the link query also? Like it
Yes,
can be
definitely.
become a faster as store procedure?
No, 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 no. Definitely not. Okay. So although,
Mm.
so if we are thinking about the performance point of view, store procedure at the top, then raw queries, then link you. Definitely. So this is the like a sequence. So normally, what is the store procedure logic that you're normal writing? So most of the store procedure are like what you call as the intended to write the core complex logic to fetch the data, okay, from the database. So you are writing the joins on the multiple tables, multiple cities, subqueries, and then you bring the data to the backend, wrap it to the some data models, and give it to the front end. Okay, so this is where
Yes.
definitely store procedure is a best benefit over here. Link will have always lower performance compared to the raw queries and the stored procedures.
So where to use link queue and where to have a store procedure?
Correct. Yeah. So yeah. So here is like you will normally in this case you should always use the hybrid approach. So wherever, as I said, a rapid application development where you just need a CRUD operation, create, read, update, delete, and list. In that case, you will definitely choose link queue queries. Okay. There could be some basic complex application like filter data by date or something. That all time also you can use the link queue. But when you are complex queries like bringing the data up 3 years, order by priority, then having some calculations. There's a lot of there. That time you should either choose with the raw query or either you should go with the stored procedure.
This applies to this like products building from scratch or for migrating migration application around.
Yeah, migration application. Okay, so recently I have gone through the such scenario where like we were like migrating with the .NET framework application to the .NET application where they have shipped what are the logic they are written into the store procedure. It was expected as a standard practice from their end to shift complete logic from the stored procedure to the business logic in a backend part. Although this was not compulsory, but it is recommended practice, and it is what you call as the following the separation concept. So it in migration they are recommend like they requested to shift the complete business logic to the what you call as into the backend part. But so there is also in between discussions where like we can like discuss what are the logic that we can not transfer to the backend technology as it has a lot of complexions that only can be handled with a high performance using stored procedures.
Okay. For
Yeah, there is
migration, we need to take a call based on the complexity of the procedure.
so
Run the
migration
thing
means
is
it's
yeah.
not only migration. Definition matters? Okay, so migration normally what happens from lower level versions to the higher level versions. Okay, sometimes what happens if you are going with the VAPT certifications, you need to take care of the outdated packages, vulnerable packages, or the deprecated package as well. But these terms comes into the migration. Okay, but when you are thinking about like a shifting logic, this comes into the more into the optimization part. Okay, so optimizing your existing application where shifting business logic from to back database to the backend service. Correct?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Someone, I think someone is there who was asking. Okay, yeah, I'll move to the next slide. Okay, so yeah, so at each layer, so as we discussed at multiple layer, what are the different ways to, so at Angular, so what we are going to have, so in Angular point of view, as it is going to be worked on the front end layer, so what exactly it's going to have? Okay, so component one is the basically page, okay, or view, where you are going to show the data to the user. Okay, it can be manipulated using the two-way binding. Okay, it is one of the most crucial and important feature of the Angular, two-way binding. Okay, so two-way binding means if you are changing anything into business logic, it will render it on UI. If you are updating on UI, it will updated to the business logic, means JavaScript or the TypeScript. So you need not to take care. So previously what happened, if anything change in the DOM, what you need to do, you have to go identify the DOM element, add the observable, or read the value on the basis of some event. Okay, but in Angular, if something change, it quickly is reflected into the backend logic. Okay, then comes to the routing part. Routing is most crucial. Okay, so whenever you are going to give an interview for the Angular, so you definitely will get a question on the routing part. What will the routing structure? What are the different routing modules? Okay, what are the loading? So there were two types of loading you can utilize, is eager loading versus lazy loading, where you can page all the components at the first load of the on the browser, and then prepare a UI and just load the UI based on the route that is loaded into the address bar of the browser. Okay, what happens in that case? So the first build size which is getting loaded into the browser is a big, so starting load time of the application is increases. Okay, for example, your application has 1,000 pages. Okay, and you just click on the URL and the complete Angular application gets loaded into your browser. Okay, then for base URL you just pick the dashboard page or the login page and show up. Even though 999 pages are not being used, those are still loaded into your browser. Okay, all the pages, because you have chosen to go with the eager loading. Okay, the benefit of this one, next time you are jumping to the dashboard page, you need not to fetch it from the server, it is already present in your browser. Okay, but the drawback is your time is increasing. Okay, first time load is the second time, if any pages is being updated or something, you need to complete reload the application. Okay, although there are ways to handle such part. Okay, there is another way of handling such cases using lazy loading. In that case, what we can do, we can create a small routing models. Okay, so normally what happens when I go to the any URL, I just want a login page. If I need a login page, why should I load the other pages? Okay, so I will just load the login module. Okay, I will keep the other module as a lazy loaded module. I'll just keep a one URL based loading. So in that case, what will happen? Only login related pages and login related services will get it loaded into your application. So startup time will be the higher. Okay, so it will be quick compared to the eager loading. In that case, the drawback of this one, like for the next pages, it will call on the runtime and fetches the new pages from the server. Okay, so as I said, there is no always what you call it as a yes no answer. It depends on how you design your application. So here I know, if I'm like, for example, if I know I will just need a one page, why will I need to load other 100 pages? Okay, then comes part of services. Services are basically utility services that can be used among the different components. You can create a business logic services, your validation services, network communication services, authentication services, or the authorization services. These are the type of examples of different services. Okay, so one more important feature of Angular comes into the picture when we have our services, that is called a dependency injection. So can someone tell me the basic definition of dependency injection?
Your higher order module should not directly depend on the lower order modules. It should talk to your module, lower order module with abstraction.
Okay, So
So dependency
where
injection simply means that I would not create an object using a new keyword. I would
correct,
either give that particular class reference to the constructor or to the to that particular method, and IOC container will be responsible for creating an object runtime at runtime.
correct. So inversion of control, correct. That is the principle which on which dependency is. So you need to create an isolated logic, okay, isolated component. So loosely coupled component. If you create an object inside the another class, what will happen? So both class will be interdependent. Okay. So if we create a interface, okay, you can just add into the dependency. So that class will not be dependent. So IOC container has a responsibility whenever dependent class asking for an object of this type. So IOC container give the specific object. So at the runtime, the object will be created and it will be dependent on the existing class. Okay. So similarly, Angular, we have, okay. So when we go with the this kind of dependency injection concept in .NET Core, there are scopes inside that one. When we have transient, scope, and singleton. What it means? Transient means that every time you are asking for the object, new object will be created. Okay. So irrespective of how many objects are, every time new object will be created. Scope means one object will be created for each request scope. Okay, any request comes, you are asking for the, in such cases where you need to store some data specific for that request. Okay, that time you can use this one. Third one is singleton. It, it the object will be created throughout the scope of the application. Single object will be available to all objects present in the application. But so okay, so these are the three types available. But when you comes to the Angular part, so only singleton will be available. So when you inject any service in two different components, so one single instance of that service will be shared among these two components. Okay. One important question of the Angular interview is like, what are the different ways to have a communication between these components? Okay, so all there are multiple components in the Angular. What are the different ways? The one of the answer is using services. So you can put data inside services which can be shared from different components. Okay, the other answer could be the event bus service, where you can use the event driven architecture, where you can raise an event from one component and you can accept in the another component. You can have a communication between these. Okay, this is basically part of the Angular where you can declare. Okay, so there will be definitely models on which you can going to write down your business logic. Okay, so these are the basic building blocks of the Angular part. Okay, then comes to the .NET API. As we discussed, we are going to have a controllers which are going to be take care as the endpoints. Okay, then middlewares. So can someone tell me what are the middlewares? What are the purpose where we should use those middlewares?
So my understanding on middleware in .NET is like it's a logic used to execute the HTTP pipelines. Like when you make a
Okay,
request
great.
from client to server,
Hmm.
we should have an order of execution. Like we need to serve the static pages, we need to authenticate, we need to authorize, and then we need to
Correct.
define the endpoints. Set up logic has to be executed in the HTTP pipeline
Request pipeline.
that
Correct,
is
correct.
handled using middleware.
Okay, correct. Yeah. So before jumping to the business logic, control level, so there are some tasks that you need to take care. So you might be you are aware about like a concept of item potency in a microservices, where, for example, one request comes to you and it is being navigated to different services. If something fails, how you are going to identify which request failed? Okay, in that case, we can use the middleware. You can create a one GUID, add into the request as a correlation ID, and that can be traversed and which you easily identify. So in such cases, there are a lot of such scenarios where you can utilize the middleware. Okay, so it's like a pre-processor. Okay, before jumping to the business logic, you have to do some pre-processing. Okay, as I said, you said that authentication, authorization will be the part of middleware. Then you can, like, for example, if there are like kind of routing, for example, if you need to redirect the static pages to the specific area, you need to redirect some request to the specific service. Okay, this kind of task can be done in a middleware. Okay, then definitely there will be the validation logic. As I said, that two level of validation will be there. Okay, then comes to our business logic. Okay, so business logic is core. Okay, task that will going to execute based on the user interaction. Okay, so for example, I created a user, clicks on the user will be created with the database. Okay, then what happens when user is created to database, a profile will be also created. So that kind of logic you can write over here. Okay, so in that case as well, so you should follow the proper design principle, like solid principles. Okay, proper design patterns. So you should take care of those. Okay, so all this comes into the picture of the low level design. So you will get a question and answer related to the low level design here in this area, where you can design a proper level of low level design question. When you design a service in such a way that where those are loosely coupled, okay, not dependent on each other, where you can create a shared object. What are the different design patterns that you can use? You can write those logic into this business logic. Okay, DTO mapping. So what does DTO means? Okay, data transfer object. So there are objects. Okay, so normally what happens, so when we have a model called as user model, so similar model is present on the database, which is like in the form of the table. Then it comes to the backend, which becomes a class now. Okay, then it transferred in a JSON, okay, as a structure, which becomes a cross platform or cross dependent data format. On a front end side, it again become into the what you call as the front end class model. Okay, so DTU is basically a kind of representation of object which can be served. Okay, so you can create a multiple DTOs based on your requirement. For example, a user object is there. Okay, so in database, for example, you have 20 fields: username, email, like birth date, and a lot of fields are there. Okay, but for user profile API or some kind of API, you need uh, email ID, first name, last name, and for example, joining data application. So in that case, what you're going to bring, you are going to write down the proper select first name, last name, email ID, and joining date. You will bring that data only. Okay, convert it into the business logic, and you can that convert into the that specific detail that can be transferred to the data. In that way, what will happen? Unnecessary keys, unnecessary data that will not being transferred in the network. So bandwidth of the network will be consumed, consumption will be less. Okay, so this will be important when you have your application has a millions of user. Small like optimization in each and every request will help you a lot in terms of your optimization performance. For example, you just need three field and you are sending a complete object. Even though value is null, still you are sending null. Okay, still you are sending keys, correct? And same request, consider you are receiving the request from 10,000 users. So 10,000 users, 10,000 requests. Okay, only three fields are required, and for example, seven keys are unnecessary present users. 7 into 10,000, 70,000 keywords all already on unnecessary are being sent to the network. Okay, this will consume the bandwidth. Okay, similarly, although it is a part of the area, this will help you to design a kind of resilient fault tolerant system where you can clearly define what will happen in terms of the low network area or the low bandwidth area. Okay, that will help you. So these are the small things. So as I'm saying, that full stack development is not only about like designing API. So these are the small things you need to consider while developing and designing the systems. Okay, okay, next jump to the O database. Okay, so there are multiple technologies that you can form: SQL Server, MySQL. That are based on that. So each database has its own pros and cons. Okay, so can someone tell me what is difference between SQL Server, MySQL, and Oracle? Not based on only their ownership or the kind of, what is the proper schema level structure that is based on the SQL Server or the Oracle, where you should go with the Oracle, where you should go with the SQL Server. And considering both are open
Sir,
source for now.
when we are using .NET, we can use SQL Server as
Okay.
Means lots of packages are available, NuGet packages are available, which
Okay.
implicitly favors SQL Server. That is the
Okay.
only
Means
thing.
like you are saying we should follow the Microsoft ecosystem. Correct. Okay, got it. Okay, means like definitely it is one of the most important reason that you should take care before selecting any kind of. So it applies to the all places. Okay, so even like as the first question that we are discussed. So whenever we are selecting any kind of technology, we should know what is its reliability, what is its supportability, where we are getting the support, because it's not part of selecting technology. We have to maintain it throughout the life cycle of the application. We should have proper user forum. You should have proper resources where we can solve the problem in that case. Okay. The answer is okay. In terms of the schema. So in SQL, we have a dedicated schema structure. In SQL Server, we have a hierarchy, database, schema. Then you can create tables, store procedure function. Okay. In Oracle, we have a user-based schema. Okay. One user means like dedicated schema for that one. Okay. Inside that one created a schema-based what do you call it as authentication can be done over here. So there are a lot of other terminology that you can need to consider while deciding the SQL database structure. Okay. Second is like identifying the proper ORMs. Okay. So which one of the ORM you for example, Dapper you have used, entity framework you use, where you are mapping the uh, database database tables along with the classes. Okay, even though there are two approaches, I think in one of the in yesterday's webinar we are discussed of the code first approach and database first approach. Okay, so can someone will tell me what is database first approach, what is code first approach, and in what case we should choose code first or the database first?
In our project, I have already the database designed.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
we have used the database first approach
Hmm.
because already the tables and the data is there. And so if we have a new application, so we can go with the code first approach. And if
Okay.
we have already existing application with the database and the data, so I think we can go with the database first approach.
Okay, got it. Yeah, this is one of the good example. Okay, how do you take care of the database migration? Anywhere, anyone aware about it? What is database migration? What exactly? How to
Like
handle that part?
I think we are doing the scaffolding if you want to migrate the database table into a model. So we are
No, no, no,
simply
no, no,
migrating.
no. So it's
Uh,
like you are like creating in database first approach, like you are converting tables into the classes. Correct?
yes.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying. I'm saying database migration. Can anyone tell me what is database migration?
Is it related to shifting to new database?
No. So yeah, that terminal wise you can, if you take care of the raw definition, yeah, shifting from one day, that is also called database migration. But I'm saying keeping the same database and we are migrating to the new version. Okay, I'll tell you. So for example, we have a system, okay, we have an application where we are tables are created. Okay, right now new feature has been created. Okay, it has a new tables. Okay, we are updating existing tables. Okay, right now you have to update your application into the system. Okay, you can deploy your front end and back end on the respective servers. What about the database? How you are going to update the database? New tables has been added, database columns has been updated, or data types has been updated. How we are going to handle this part? Any idea?
Sir, can you please repeat your question?
Okay, so for example, we have a system, okay, where applications already there, where data tables are there. We have created a new feature. We have added new tables. Okay, we have updated some tables. We have added new columns, updated the data
Mhm.
types of existing column. How you are going to update the production database or the live database based on these changes?
Sir, we can run the EF core migrations again.
Correct. Okay. So EF core migration means like what are the code that you have written that will take care of the migration. What exactly it does internally? What is exactly it done? Do you know?
No, sir.
Okay. So first of all, I tell you there are okay. EF core is one of the way to handle the database migrations. Okay. So there is a one more raw way. Okay. So we'll start with the very raw way. Okay. So whenever you are updating any tables, okay, or adding new tables, you can create a dedicated SQL script. Okay. Adding new table, altering existing tables. Okay. Or altering existing columns. Okay. You can create it. Okay. Whenever new table is database you are going to apply, you need to execute this query to make sure that both tables are created, but it will have a manual effort and it will have manual monitoring as well. Correct. You should not double create something, or you should have proper versioning, proper maintain with the proper scripts. Okay. You should not double script added script, or like what you called as proper checks should be added to the what is the script you are writing. Second is like EF core that you are suggested. So in EF core, what it does, it maintains the versions of your schema. Okay. So means when you are design application for the first time, it is like version one. Okay. It when you created version one, just create a like EF core migration command. It creates a version one command. Then you added some columns, you added some tables. Okay. Then you added a one more time EF core migration command. What it does, what are the previous version and what is the new version? It identifies the difference. Okay. Create a script, which are the script that you have written in the previous as a raw. It created those script, added the checks. Okay. What are the required checks, and created this script into the new migration version. Okay. So when you connect to the database and apply that migration, so whatever the script that is written in that will get executed onto that database, and the new tables, new columns will be created on that database. Okay. This is the second method. Third method is like handling the project as a database as a code. Okay. So you might be aware about the database as a code first approach, correct? Database as a code. So I'm not saying a models, I'm saying database as a code. Okay. In .NET, specifically, I'm talking about .NET framework. Okay. .NET framework, there is a concept of database SQL project. Okay. So where you can create a database project. Okay. Where you can create a tables, you can create a stored procedure, you can create everything that is present in the SQL Server database, you can create into the database project. Okay. It will be definitely .SQL Proj as a project extension, and it will have a file will be with extension .SQL. Here, what you can do, there is an option to have schema compare. Okay. So for example, you can have a database project. You can right click on. I don't have that like right now dot in community edition, but you can easily check SQL project. Okay. What it does, it creates a copy of SQL file into the SQL project. Okay. And you will have also the option to have directly communication between database and your project. So if new column is added into the database, you can compare the schema. You can bring that column into the your project code on one click. Okay. It can be done. So when we think that this is a project, so when we build this project, or just like a web application, we can create a .dll file. Correct. You might have seen the .dll file. Correct. Dynamic link libraries. So what are the logic that we have written the C# that will goes into the binaries called as .dll. Now for this SQL project, so what are the logic, what are the code that is written into the this SQL file that goes into the DAC pack. Okay. DAC that is the extension for the output file. Okay. Data architecture package DAC, that is the what it does. Just like EF core, it has a schema version snapshot. It has a schema version snapshot in a DAC pack. Okay. So when we go, okay, right now you got the DAC pack. When you need to apply into the database, what you can do, you can just get that DAC pack file. There is an
Hello,
option you can, hello,
hello. Haritu,
sorry,
good
someone is
afternoon.
talking. हेलो।
हाँ तो मैं अभी आधे
Sangam,
घंटे से
please
बताऊँ
unmute yourself.
कॉल करके। हाँ
Okay, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, in that case, there is a one tool called the SQL packaging. You just need to click, just like you might be aware of restoring packages. You can just restore a snapshot in the database layer. Previously, it was happening on the C# logic. Right now, it is happening on the database layer. So it will compare the existing database. It will compare the snapshot in the data, identifies the delta. Based on that delta, it creates a script to create a new table, create a new column, alter a new column, and it executed on the actual database. So you need not to take care of those checks. Okay. One more thing, if something you have added and which is causing a data loss, that time it also gives you warning or the error that you should not execute this DAC pack. It will give the proper message and you can solve that message, prepare a DAC pack again and solve this one. Okay, these are the ways to handle the uh, database package upgradation or the migration part. Okay, I can give you the alternative of this one. There are open source called as Liquibase, ORM base. Okay, there are other open source technology that you can easily like understand and study to handle database migration. Okay, any question in this system architecture? I have given you the idea at each layer what is happening. Correct. So my objective of giving you idea in such a way that you are not just able to write down the basic application. You should be able to optimize it, maintain it, and scale it to the enterprise level. Correct. You should be able to handle all tasks that comes into the uh, regular development or the maintenance phase of the application.
Sir,
Correct.
as you
Yes.
said before, few minutes before that, when you're using stored procedure, scaling is not possible. But what do you actually mean by scaling? Means the load of user is increasing.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
So we can optimize the query na, for that, and we can
Yeah,
increase the
definitely.
speed of.
So there is a limit. Okay. So you cannot
Okay, okay.
optimize query beyond some limit. Correct. So you can optimize the query, add indexes, do the proper sharding. Correct. You can do everything to optimize the performance. Okay. Scaling means you can literally create a new like a conduct business logic. Okay. So there will be two API servers. Consider. So you know the request pool, and even aware about the request pool. How does IIS server handles the request?
IS server.
Yeah, IIS or the any .NET server. So
जी
request
बोलिए।
pool server. Yeah.
ओ,
So
Yes,
when
Sangam.
once
जी
any
जी
front,
एक्चुअली मैं थोड़ा कल बिजी हो गया था इस वजह से नहीं आ पाया था। मैं आज आता हूँ, आज आ जाऊंगा
Please
मैं।
unmute yourself. Hello.
हाँ ओके ओ थैंक यू।
okay. So request pool represents to the open communication. Those are available to serve the request. Okay. So for example, there is a limited number of service connection. Those are available. So you might be heard a term of connection on the database side. Sorry, someone is saying something? Okay. So you might be aware about the connections. So we should have a limited, we are having the limited number of connection. So we should utilize properly in terms of database. So similarly, number of connections are open number of connections are available to serve the request. So any front-end request goes to the server, it will have a finite number of requests. Request pool is there. For example, I as server having the 100 open connections. So at a time, IIS server can handle 1,000 requests or 100 requests, considering 1,000 request pool. Okay. So what happens when you have a one more request, 1,001 requests? It have to wait, correct? Until the one of the threads should be get free. Okay. So in that case, what will happen? Another pool of requests will be created to serve that the next request. So based on the load of the user going to the server, a request pool will be itself created to handle those requests. Correct. This is how we can scale the application. Okay. So what are the requests that is not waiting? It should not wait. It should be available to serve the request. Okay. Any question in this? So like these are like when we term of the scaling. So these are the basic concepts that we should be aware to go with the higher level of concept. So if you know about what is the request pool, how does the request get, then you can understand how you can uh, improve the performance or the improve the scalability using the uh, scaling. Okay. Any question in this?
Ashish, one quick question around the DTO mapping class creation. We know, right, auto mapper, mass transit, and mediator
Correct.
become cost associated. So, like, how the large enterprise applications they're manually creating the data map DTO mappers, or still they are using auto mappers paying license cost?
No. So mostly people use the auto mapper, but when they are going to have their own logic, sometimes what happen, you should have a proper what you call the pre-logic that should be executed for some of the models. That time they have written some kind of inherited logic, but mostly everyone is using the auto mapper right now. No one is going to create the manual classes for each and every table. So and that is also
So
recommended practice.
they will be buying license for AutoMapper and continuing to use the AutoMapper, right?
Correct, correct. So definitely that cost will be there. If you are saving time, you have to pay somewhere.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have to spend time in the designing each and every classes, handling its validation, and everything should be there. Correct. But when you use the mapper, that everything is being taken care. So you have to pay in terms of the like money or something to get those facilities. Although there
Okay.
are some
Why
open
I'm
source.
asking? Yeah,
Go ahead.
please complete your point. No, I'm asking because in our team we were using AutoMapper and Mass Transit for Saga orchestration.
Mm-hmm.
Our architect are asking like how to optimize these costs. Like they become licensed and we need to get rid of it. They're asking us to do some POCs around it. So that is the reason I
Okay.
thought of understanding how the enterprise are approaching these costs.
Okay, okay. So in that case, what I like, I have experience of this kind of. So can I share one of my experience? Okay. So
Sure,
we
sure.
were
Yeah.
working on the application where dynamic forms are being created, just like Google Forms. Okay. We were building on such system where, but it was not up to this level. It was for the mobile application. So form will be image, uploading. It has like a lot of fields where there Google Map. It was not just like a text box in work. So for this one, we have to create dynamic objects based on that one. So we have written like a script that is going to create a what you call it as dynamic tables. Okay, based on that, it reads the schema. Based on that, it creates classes dynamically, and with the what are the what you call it data type constraint that is applied on that schema that converts into the validation logic into the classes. So you can create a kind of small utility tool that reads the schema and prepares into the classes.
Okay, okay. I will try that, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Even if Dapper is the same, correct? It's like you are rewriting the Dapper.
Yeah, I wanted to understand how big organization approaching this problem. Thanks for clarifying that.
I don't think it's gonna be a big problem. Ultimately the understanding the schema. Okay, first of all, understanding the schema. Okay, then what are the constraints? How you are going to convert into the C# logic or the water backend logic you can convert. For example, you are adding the unique key inside the database table. How you can convert into the validation logic inside the class. Okay, if it is an nvar character added to the uh, in table, how you can convert into the proper string. Okay, so based on that you can create.
Understood.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I think we are almost close. I will just try to jump into. So I think we also might need to uh, go to the what you call this session. Okay. Okay, so I have written some comment of backend part. Okay, so I'll go through the with speed. Okay, maybe I will share this slideshow and one of the repository, so you can get. I have prepared the code. Okay, so I'll share with the code. Share the code
Sir,
with you guys.
if if
if you have time, we can anytime extend. As if the students are interested, we can extend this meeting if you have time also. No issue.
Definitely. Sorry, but it will definitely going to extend for 10 to 15 minutes. But
No,
after
no, no
that, I
issues.
don't think. Okay. Yeah.
No
So
issues.
yeah, I will go through the backend part. What are the just like I have explained this one, the what are the things that I explained, I will just explain through the code only. Okay. So this is the entry point. Okay. So each application has its own configuration, entry point, and like so just like any application which start with the main application, you might be our Java or something. So this is a program.cs code. Okay. Through which application gets initiated. Okay. So these are the basic thing that that is present in the here we have used the controllers which are going to use the uh, serve the request for the product. I just take an example of the product service which we're going to take care. So here I added the scope product service which is going to be available for this request scope. Okay. Then endpoint. So look at this. This is the endpoint. So API controller, root, and the controller. So I will give you the basic idea what is the API controller. API controller is basically a attribute or the filter. So in square bracket attribute, it's like a preprocessor. Whenever any method from this controller class is executed, these two these two classes will get executed. So for example, what are the feature that is required for the endpoints will be present in the API controller, and the root defines on what URL this controller will be available. Okay. So with the standard practices with CRUD operation, we will get the only API slash product slash get means all products will be get from this one. Okay. So normally we should have proper versioning. Okay. But so I think there are a lot of concepts we might need another class or something where we can understand instead of just writing code, understanding the other concept, system design concept, optimization stuff, security part that will help you to design a scalable, fully fault resilient, and a optimized system that will give you the idea of designing systems. Okay. And ultimately the final method which is going to actually serve the request. Okay. Then model. So this is the basic model that I have designed which is going to so it is a DTO that you are going to take care while sending the project. Okay. You can make sure that string will be nullable or the price will be decimal or something. Based on that you can optimize the actual object which is being transferred to the network. Okay. Service is basically a database access layer. Okay. Which is going to connect with the database. Here I use the normal entity framework core where I going to use the AppDB context, which we're going to connect to the database, bring the all data, and going to bring the rest. Okay. So here the last method, just check last method. Here I'm getting the context. Context is basically a connection object which takes care specifically to the database that is given initiated with the connection string. What it does, it holds the schema structure of that one based on the method that we have added. Context.products means the query will get applied to the products. Okay. And to a sensing based on the last method, a dynamic query will be created on the products and it will get executed on the runtime. It will bring the data and it will be returned to that. Right now we have not given any kind of limit or methods, so it will bring the all records from the table and it is going to the return as a response. Okay. So there is one more example I added, like creating the basic context. So here context is like local one. Okay. So context dot save, when we write down that method, that time it will be got reflected to the database. Okay. This is the DB context. Okay. Which is like, as I said, is the object. It is keep the connection to the database, which act as a repository. Okay. On front end side, okay, we will go through the these are the routing. Okay, as I said, that routing will help to redirect to the route. Okay, specifically look at that path, product, and then component means like whenever in URL products, okay, URL will be there, you need to load the product component. Okay. So I remember that I have told you two concepts, eager loading and the lazy loading. So when we specifically directly specify the components, it means you are loading, eager loading. Okay. So for this URL, product component is loaded. Okay, and this will be eager loading means even though that URL is not loaded, the product component will be present in the browser. Okay. Second URL is empty URL, just like for by default URL of the server. But you are saying you are not no need to load any component, but you need to redirect it to the another URL. What you are doing when you are getting empty URL, you need to redirect to the product URL, and for product URL, you need to product component. Okay. So for lazy loading, you just need to replace the component instead of component, you need to write down the product module. So what will the inside product module actual components are loaded. So for now, only URLs for product all loaded. So whenever products URL will be present in the address bar, that time product module will be fetched from the server and will be rendered on the UI. Okay, routing part will be there. Okay, so can someone tell me how we can restrict someone to go to the specific route? So for example, I am a normal user and someone is admin. So I don't have access to the setting URL, but I have go to the address bar and type /settings. Okay, what should be done in that case?
Sir, outguards.
Auth guard, perfect. Okay, so auth guards are basically checks where you are going to add the checkpoints where what are the roles that is present in that one, whether that is available to that user or not. It is basically RBAC on the front end, correct? So there are a lot of checks you can add in the auth guards. Okay, okay, this is the routing part. Then we have service. Okay, as you have mentioned that we have mentioned that services. Okay, look at this. There is a @injectable provider route. Okay, so this is basically just like a attribute. Okay, so anyone can tell me the decorator design pattern? Anyone aware about the decorator design pattern? Okay, so I'll tell you. So we might take a one of the session where we'll go through the different types of design patterns, solid principles. We'll get agent. So decorator design pattern defines that whatever the service I can decorate it with my own code logic. Okay, so injectable is one of the kind of decorator. So product service I can make it injectable, so I can decorate it. Okay, so injectable means this service is injectable at root level. Okay, provided in root level. So wherever I am specifying product service, it is injectable. If it is not injectable, you cannot put in any constructor. Correct. Just like the constructor HTTP client, it is the HTTP client which is by default injectable service given in the Angular. You can inject into the any constructor level. Okay, so in that case, the product service will be available to use into the component level or any other places where you can inject it. Okay, through this way you can implement the dependency injection. Okay, yeah. Then routes. Okay, so remember there are example of auth guard. So for example, auth guard. So in auth here you can specify. So this route only activated when this auth guard condition will be satisfied. Okay, so you can specifically it like just like adding the authorized filter on the backend part. Okay, next is business logic. It's the base business logic how you are going to bring that. Okay, so we are calling the product service which was present in the look at this. I have injected this product service in this component. Product component is not injectable, correct? So it cannot be. So whatever the service that I wanted to make it just decorate it with the injectable that will be available to inject into the constructor. Using this product service, I can call the get all products and bring the all products, and that can be shown onto the UI. Okay, sorry, assign to product is UI, and then you can iterate into it and show it to UI. Okay, presentation logic. Okay, so now your data is available in the products. Okay, as I said that there are two-way bindings. Okay, right now this dot products is updated. Okay, means like just like when the data is updated, the products let p of products. It's ng for just like a for loop. Whenever data is updated in the products win, this div of ngFar will get rendered. Okay, it will iterated based on the data present in the products, and the number of div will be created for the number of items present in the product array. Okay, it will show p dot name and p dot price. The product name and the price will be shown using this div. Okay. Yeah. So one of the most crucial part. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Till the time. Okay. Presentation. We are going through the logic. Is there any question? These are the small snippets of the code that is core component of while full stack development. Do you have any questions in this? Okay. Yeah, I'm jumping to the next part. Okay. So as I said that testing is one of the most crucial parts. So it is recommended or like kind of it is kind of mandatory stuff that you should follow to write down your test cases for what are the core logic you are writing. You can use any framework from the backend part or the right now I'm just using the XUnit and mock to test the what are the code I have written. Okay, you can write down the all test cases and you can execute those and just like so before going to the tester your code will be gone through the all test cases so nothing will be missed in that cases. Okay, so this is a basic example of the .NET and similar for I have written for the Angular. You can use Zest or the Mocha or something based on your choice. Okay, to just test those features. Okay. So I just a small mini project you can build. Okay, just prepare a one small product. Okay, where you can create a list of all products, CRUD operations, and the basic filters criteria where using you can like search by product name, get the product by product name. Okay, then you can update the existing product. Before going to database, my suggestion will be just do everything in memory. Once you are done with that one, then connect with that database. Okay, then try to go with like go with the pluggable architecture. Your application should be common, but based on the some kind of swapping logic, your code should be plugged to the SQL server. You can plug to the MySQL server. You can plug to the SQLite. You can create a thing independent database services, and based on the selection, you can choose whichever to connect. Okay, so you should be able to design a scalable and modular system as well. Okay, then I think last two slides I will just go through it. Okay, so as I said, a full stack development, what are the skills that is expected from your end? Okay, we have gone through the front end part, what are the expected stuff. So on front end part, my recommendation you should be available to or available like eligible to understand the basic CSS concepts. Okay, you should write down the basic CSS attributes or classes. You are not allocated. You will not be allocated to design the application, but at the basic level, you should be able to do the basic level of padding, margin that is expected from your end. Okay. Then backend part, definitely the C# logic, starting from the endpoint to the repository. Then database level, you should be able to design a schema. Indexing, migration is one of the most crucial feature. Okay, optimization part that you need to take. The one of the more important feature is like version controlling. You should be able to do git all branching strategies. You should be able to create PRs, writing the proper commit messages, adding the pre-commit hooks, writing the reviews. Okay, these are the basic steps. DevOps practices, these are recommended practices that you should know. Okay, servers becomes essentials because you cannot just develop the application without knowing where it is going to be deployed. Okay, so for example, right now we are thinking about .NET Core. .NET Core is compatible with Linux, Unix, or Macs or something. Okay, based on that, you should be able to that. What if my application is running on the Ubuntu? What if my application is running on the Linux or the Windows? How I can create a build for the Windows? You should know the deployment architecture, where it you are going to host it, what are the reverse proxies going to.
So-
You should know the
Sorry
security
to
practices.
interrupt.
Yeah.
One quick question. Like in Windows application, we used to deploy it in IIS server, right?
Correct.
When it comes to .NET Core application into Docker and Kubernetes, what is the server predominantly used? Like any Apache server, something like that, or
Yeah,
any?
the Kestrel server is basically that you one can use, but it can be deployed on any other services as well. The basic server. Okay, you can use.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Kestrel is one of the important. Kestrel, Kestria. Okay.
Sir, in that you showed us that unit test case, act, assert, arrange. That's something we use now in that.
Correct, correct. Act, correct, asset. Okay, based on that.
Sir, is it compulsory to write that everywhere, or you can?
No,
It is optional.
that's what I'm saying. The most of the things are not mandatory or the compulsory, but it gives you the add-on. Okay, so as I said, I have taken 500 plus interviews. See, so when someone write down the code, write down the test cases, it is always better to have proper validation logic in what are the code you're writing. It is add-on plus stuff that you will increase the chance of your selection. Okay, and so there are some companies where it is compulsory. Okay, so in Microsoft it is compulsory to write down the test cases. There is no chance of like skipping that part. What are the logic you are writing, just write down the test cases for each and every unit, integration and end to end. You cannot skip that part. Okay, so when you are like normally people are targeting for the Fang level company, so they only focus on the DSA systems. And so my recommendations, these are the other things that you should focus, because even though you are only giving the interview, whenever you are getting chance to for other interviews, these skills will be highlighted to the those interviewer and will increase your chance of selection. Okay, the NFRs. Okay, NFRs is non-functional requirements: security, performance, scalability. So can someone will tell me, so when you are designing a REST API, what are the different security threats that you are considering and that you should tackle? Okay, you can skip the basic authentication, authorization, and the SSL. These are the very basic. Everyone does it. What are other things that you should take care?
Uh, SQL injection,
Okay,
cross-site scripting.
okay, cross-site
Then
scripting.
another thing is CSRF, right?
Yeah,
Request forgery,
cross-site
right?
request forgery, correct? Yeah.
And
So
then
what should you
these are
do
some.
for the cross-site scripting attack?
I think proper input validation we need to have in place. And in Angular, we have a concept called content security policy, right? When
Correct.
you send a request, you need to create a nonce like kind of a token, so
Mm-hmm.
that it is a proper input only getting served to the customer. This way, we can make sure cross-site scripting is avoided.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Okay. SQL injection, for SQL injection, what should be done?
Parameterized query. We need when you write any stored procedure or any EF core query, right? We need to make the query as parameterized, so
Okay.
that
What about the
any other.
dynamic queries? Table name, column name, everything is being taken dynamically
Sir,
based on the instruction.
dynamic query we are using a lot in Edelweiss. So it
Yes.
means does it save us from SQL injection?
Yes. Dynamic query,
Hmm.
if you are going with the proper parameterized one, definitely
Huh.
saves you from the SQL injection. But there are, okay, if
Hmm.
so it depends on the which tool you are using. Okay, so for example, okay, so you have added a select star from select star from table in your filter criteria. Okay, in a what you call as a search filter text box, what you call as select star from table name. Okay, that will come as it is and will become a where name equal to or name like select star from. The select star from become a now what you called as a data or become a query. So when you write down the parameterized query, it become a data. Although some tools still consider it as a SQL injection, although it is a false positive, because it will be considered data and it will not impact on your SQL database. Okay, it will not return any record because there is no record present with such data. But there are some tools, like I can give you example, burp suit or the backslash. These are the VAPT tools which gives you a warning or the kind of level 2 of error in these such cases as well. So you should add extra checks. For example, whatever the column name that is coming to as a dynamically, those should be present in the list of column names only. Okay, So what are the keywords that is present in the query? Those should be from the restricted keywords. So this kind of checks also required in the dynamic query generation along with the parameterized query.
That's interesting, sir. Thank you.
Sir, we
Yeah,
are using something n hyphen and we are writing that query.
n hyphen.
Like I don't know why we are using that n hyphen. We use that n hyphen and in the single quote we are using the query and then we are from the SQL this stored procedure parameters we are dynamically using the table name and we use the link server.
Okay, sorry, but
Link
I have not
server
heard
name.
about n hyphen n. I'm not aware about n hyphen.
Okay,
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 I need to check. Uh,
okay. Okay, if anyone have any doubt regarding this, so they can ask.
yeah,
So what about circuit breaker, rate limiting, the NFR stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Can you
yeah.
just
Those are
brief
the
about
like
that?
correct. Yeah. So as these are the comes into the picture, as I said that when what are the decrypted security threats? Okay. So when any API which are being called multiple times, or some attacker has written the background job or something to call our resource over consumer request or exploit our resources. What will happen in that case? Our system will be get overloaded or crash because our system is not ready for this kind of level. So in that case, we should have such a mechanism that if requests are coming, number of requests coming from a same IP from the same request source within some time frame, there are algorithms, sticky bucket or the sliding window. Okay, there are different algorithms for the designing the rate limiting. So based on that, you can restrict those API using the rate limiting. So number of requests from that particular IP or the request source will not be able to. For example, you can creep a window of one, for example, 20 seconds. So you can only serve the one request within that 20 seconds for that particular resource for that particular IP. Okay, this is the basically rate limiting. It is to avoid the exploitation of resources. Okay. Any question
Yes,
other
sir.
than this? Okay. So I think this is the final slide. Okay. So as I'm going through like actually, so these are the basic expectations from your end. Okay. So when you are going to the like what you call as a um, full stack development, when you are going to have a junior development, so it differs because it is not exactly that going to be applicable for all level of industry. If you are talking about junior and it is startup companies, you have to take care of the even like sometimes designing the system as well. But these are the standard practice that you should follow. If you are a junior having 0 to 2 years of experience, you should have a like a ready to code on daily basis, learning the basics, and ownership will be your the small task. Okay, your ownership will not should not go, rather I will should say should not go. You should focus on one task, make it sure that it is working fine, properly writing its test cases. You can consider one function. Okay, what are the input coming to the function properly validated, what are the method, you should raise a proper exception, proper response, that should be you should take care. So this is how you can build a big system. Okay, when you go to the mid level, 3 to 4 years or 3 to 5 years, you are expected to have develop dedicated features. Okay, take care of the bugs in the existing system. You need to take care of the delivery of that feature as well, where you need to take care of like starting from front end, back end, database, communication, validation. Okay, taking care of the performance that you need to take care when you go with the mid level. Okay, when you go with the senior level plus 5 years, okay, plus 5 to 8 years, okay, you need to take care of the complex problems instead of just creating new one, handling the problems inside the existing system, taking care of the reliability, taking care of the complex problems, guiding the juniors. Okay, and you need to take care of the now module. Okay, you are going one more level up. Okay, so there are multiple features inside one model, so you have to take care of ownership level will get increases. Okay, then after 8 years you become a lead. Sometimes you need to take care of a designing system. You have to, you may not get a time to regularly code on it. Okay, so you have to take care of the architecture plus team management, leading the team technically in terms of the management. Now your responsibility goes one more level up. You're taking care of the product now. Okay. So all input, output stuff, what are the communication mechanism, what are the fault tolerant, what is the logging. You need to take care of each and everything of the products. Okay. Then you goes to one more level. So you become the architect. So you will not get a regular chance of coding. So you need to take care of the architecture. You will need to discuss multiple products, how those will be part of a single system, how those are going to communicate it, how you are those going to, for example, we need to add a single sign-on. So we should use the Azure AD or the Entra ID. What cloud should be selected? What is the pricing? This kind of decisions will you are going to take. Okay, these are the basic level of role-based expectation that is expected from your end. Okay, yeah. So any question throughout the application, and you can tell the arranging team that what are the different topic we can take further webinars like system design, low level design, high level design, NFRs. Okay, but other than this, regarding this presentation of the webinar, do you have any questions?
So one more question from my end. So as a full stack developer, now we are given with GitHub Copilot access, and my management and architect are expecting more and more productivity in a sprint or agile setup. So how
Correct.
to handle this situation, sir? Though we have Copilot, still have the complexity of business requirement and
Yeah.
challenges in the technical setup. So how to address this situation?
Okay. Okay. So I have worked on the Copilot. So I think these are the tools, Cursor, Copilot, and other. These are the evolving tools. So you cannot. So basically, my understanding, AI is a source of reference, not become a source of truth. Okay. So whatever coming from AI, the Copilot, it should not be final. Okay. So whenever you are taking help from the Copilot or such system, you should review at your end. Okay. So definitely, so improve. It will improve your productivity because you need not write each and every word. Although it is available using the auto intelligence and the writing the auto boilerplate, but the water code you are writing to, you should able to write down the proper validated code. You should review it. Okay, based on that. So where you it will save your time. So if you so when someone tell that it should improve the productivity, productivity is not only thing that you should develop the application faster. It means you should application faster, efficient, and reliable. So means like you are creating one API, delivering in 1 hour, but it get failed at the production and bringing 10 bugs. It is not productivity. Correct. It is like take 8 hours, write down the proper API, write down the proper test cases, test it, complete edge cases testing, then go ahead. So although you will spend 8 hours only, but here you spend 1 hour on the development and uh, root cause analysis and the debugging and the root bug resolving. You are spending remaining 7 hours, and ultimately you are taking 8 hours. But in that case, 8 hours means like complete throughout the application, which give you the confidence that if my code is going to the production, it will not fail. Correct.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So don't uh, uh, confuse between the productivity and the pace of the development. Pace of the development, it is a different term. When it comes to the productivity, productivity comes with the reliability.
Okay. Because I understand from the management perspective, they wanted
correct.
to get some ROI, return of investment from the
Okay, you
AI
can give
tools.
the same logic. You can give the same logic. Correct.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Understand.
got it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any questions other than this?
Sir, I have few questions.
Yep.
Yeah, so the first one is like I want to know, as you have worked in the both the eras, like pre-GPT eras and post-GPT
Yes.
eras.
Yes.
So how have been the coding has been evolved? Like nowadays, like people directly open a GPT tab and they put on the task and they get
Yes.
it resolved. So how was the pre-GPT era and the post-GPT era, or the pre-AI era and post-AI era? Can you just Tell us, as we
I'm
have
feeling
started
aged
coding
now.
from.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, so previously, so definitely, it was not like that. We were not having references. We were following the Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow was like our best friend. Okay, in that case, but it was like so previously it was like a research based searching or the solve like going into the direction of the solving problem or the debugging. So we were going searching different tutorials, different references, Stack Overflow. These are the different ways we were following. Okay, so based on that, in between we were learning a lot of stuff. Okay, we were learning what should be done. We were going through the pros and cons of each and everything. Okay, but right now, so even though I also follow the chat gpt but not for coding, so I only follow chat gpt to validate myself. Okay, validate myself, then generating a new kind of documentation or something. I never use GPT to write down my logic. I always write my own logic. I just make sure that if something is missing, to validate it. Okay. So, for example, as I said, become AI. Make sure that AI become your assistant, not your replacement. Okay. So you should use AI in a such a way that it should not uh, replace your creative thinking, your logical thinking. Okay, so if you like, just like you said that just copy the problem statement, put into the chat gpt, it will give you the complex scenario. Okay, even though chat gpt also gives you the proper reasoning as well, but normally I don't think so. 99% will just check the code, copy, paste into that, just run it, just one or two test cases, execute it. If it is working, then go ahead. Correct. So my
Yes, sir.
recommended will be there. Okay. So write down your logic, validate with the AI. Okay. Definitely you should take the help of AI, but don't write logic or the code using AI. Okay. Boilerplate, you know that everything is available without GPT or with GPT. Correct. Boilerplate, you need not to take care. The core logic.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
talking about
Boiler.
the core logic.
Yes, yes.
Correct.
The core business logic. Yeah.
Yeah. Write down by yourself. Okay. And I think one more thing you can take help of. For example, as I said, testing. So when you're writing function, you validate it with AI. Just give that function to the chat GPT and ask, write down the test cases. Don't spend time on the your test case writing. Get the test cases, put it as it is, go through the test cases, check whether test cases are valid or not, and execute those. Okay, so this is the another way of validating your code with the help of AI. Okay.
Yes, sir. And sir, how to like we are all mid-level developer having 3 to 4 years of experience only. Now we want to like have a mastery in .NET, Angular, React, something like that. Then what should we do? Like directly we should take up an idea, start coding for a project, or we should go for a
No.
tutorial, or like just a small briefing. Like what should we do as a mid-sized developer
Okay.
to?
Okay. So as far as my experience, so I definitely recommended you not to stick to the any stack. Okay. As you said that you are want to go into the Angular and React. Definitely it will give you the depth in that technology. But as you know that there is the era of AI. Everyone is having the different technology, and like you should be able to grab the technology in like with a minimum effort. So I recommend you to learn the technology or the learn the concept. Okay. So for example, we should learn the dependency injection, whether it is Java, whether it is .NET, or whether it is something else. Dependency injection is going to be same. Correct. So understand the concept. Okay. So when you're like go with the any, so you are 3 to 4 years. When you go into the senior level, okay, it is expected from your end to design a solution, not just a problems like a solution for a small a specific problem. It's the problem. The solution should be compatible with the existing system, and it should be flexible enough to make sure that if we are making changes in that solution, it will not break the existing system or the adjacent system. Okay, so understanding system. Okay, understanding system, business logic, concepts. These are the terms which is explicit of technology you should understand at this stage. So when you become 5 years, okay, so concept should be like just like your thought process. So when you say dependence section, oh no, I can easily implement that part. Okay, and the most important thing, whenever you are implementing, just ask 3 questions: what, how, and why. What I'm implementing, how I'm implementing, and why I'm implementing. Correct? If you know the answer of these questions, then go for the implementation. Correct? That time you should know the importance of that, what are the logic that you are writing, and that will be completely understood to you, so you can easily explain to anyone, or you can remember even after 2 years when you go through that code. Correct?
Correct, sir. Excellent.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Even though there are like even though there are like model lot of ways that we can like solve this problem as well, but I think you are capable enough to solve this problem by your own. Okay, any questions?
So one more question related to upgrading .NET and Angular. Normally,
Yeah.
how we need to upgrade .NET and Angular? Like we need to, as a batch, we need to upgrade, or we can upgrade as and when the individual versions getting updated, like .NET 8 along with the Angular 16, like that, or
Okay, yeah.
we
So yeah, so I recently have gone through such problem. Okay, I'm previously like working as a migration specialist. Okay, so in such cases, what happens? So you can do it independently, but normally what happens? There are some technologies which are like tightly coupled with front end and back end. I can give you example. Okay, have you implemented MSIL, Microsoft link library for the authentication? Okay, which has a library which is compatible with Angular, and same library is present on the, so one library which is having dependency on the front end and back end. In that case, you have to implement upgrade the both system, front end and back end. But if there are no dependencies, okay, and you are taking, because we have, why we are jumped to the isolated entire architecture, so we should have not dependency of front end and back end. Correct? So Angular can be become React, so there will be no impact on the backend part. But there are such cases where it is tightly coupled. Definitely, technology will not become a fully flexible enough, loosely coupled enough till date to make sure that is there. There are some cases. For example, if you are using Signal system, okay, which is like a bidirectional WebSocket communication. If you are using some kind of libraries, if you are upgrading backend package, you need to take care of the front end package as well. Okay, if you are upgrading any .NET ADO package on the backend, you need to take care on the front end side. So it depends what kind of scenario that you use and what kind of problems you are taking care. If you are just taking care of the
okay.
upgrading the backend, which is not impacting on front end, then you can easily implement
Hmm.
different. That's why I said there
Okay.
is no answer to yes,
The
no.
reason I brought up this, yeah, the reason I brought up this, like most part of the time when we upgrade the versions, we need to do validate across the product,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Definitely, it may take like entire developer effort to validate all the features. I thought like if we like club the front end component and back end component upgrade together, the
No.
validation effort can be reduced. But as you suggested, it depends on the scenario. I understand.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if like, so migration means not only the stuff. Okay, so I'll give example. So one of the our client is expecting to have migration from the old technology to new one. Along with that, they are expecting to have VAPT certification. Anyone aware about the VAPT certification?
Yes, sir. Vulnerability access points.
No, vulnerability analysis and penetration testing.
Okay.
What exactly happens in this?
Sir, like I am working on VAPT points all currently in my company. So there are like they have given me a documentation in which there are 3 categories: low, medium, and high. They have
Okay.
told me to close that points. In that high points are there, in which when we are debugging, we have that console tab in which .NET framework version it should not be visible.
Correct.
Like such points they have given me.
Okay.
Framework
So I
version
think
should
you
not be
are
visible,
working
and
on the I think you are
Huh.
working on the report generated by the VAPT tool
Yes,
when
yes,
you are
yes, yes,
solving this.
yes,
Correct.
yes,
So
yes, yes,
my
correct.
question is, what is VAPT? Why should? Okay. So
Mm.
so you might be aware about OAuth security standards. There are 10 standards we should follow. Okay. So there are different VAPT tools. Okay. Vulnerability analysis and penetration testing. So what happened in exactly? So you know that there is a two-way of testing, static testing and dynamic testing. I'm not going in terms of the business level testing. I'm talking about the code testing. Okay, SAST and DAST. So when we go with the VAPT certification, we should have a no critical level and no high level issue in our code. Okay, in both static and as well as dynamic. Okay, so what happens in static level testing? So it just scan through your code. Okay, so you might be aware about sonar cube, you might be aware about baracode, you might be aware about the backslash. These are the different tools which go through your code, scan your code and identify, is there any outdated package, is there any vulnerable package, is there any deprecated package, those are vulnerable to any security threats. It brings that one and gives you the report, okay, based on their CVE severity, and that comes as a result, as a report, and then you have to solve and again give to the scanning. Okay, this is static because code is not in the execution. Correct, code is completely static, that is not, and then you solve it and then again go till these issues get solved. You have to perform this cycle. Okay,
Scanning. Yes,
now
yes,
you
yes.
now you come to the dynamic testing. Now dynamic testing, what happens, your code is running, now you are simulating the attacks. So what are the attacks that we have discussed, like cross-site scripting attack, SQL injection attack, coarse origin attack. So these are the different types of attacks that simulated, okay, your code is running and that is being attacked on your code, and that times what are the issues that occur, the tool will give you that report, so you can solve those issues and solve the all issues from the dynamic and static testing, then you will get the VAPT certification. Okay, so for the such certification as well, some client ask for the upgradation or the migration of the application. Okay, you got it, VAPT.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, anything else? Yeah, there are a lot of such things that we can discuss. I think we can take 2 days as well, but it will not. Yeah. So any questions?
Yes, sir. Yes. Uh, if there are not any questions, then we can.
Yeah, I think.
So quick
Yeah.
feedback, sir. It is a
Yeah.
good discussion, very interactive. Recent days, I attended many master classes and
Mhm.
other webinars, but there were like people used to drop the chat message and they were not allowed to talk in with the session coordinator or the person who is taking the session. But you are very nice and patiently receiving all the question and answering. And I learned this new terminology VAPT. I might have used penetration testing and all, but this vulnerability analysis and penetration testing is very new to me. And like this, many terms I learned from this today's session. Thank you for your
Yeah,
nice
thank
session,
you,
sir.
thank you. Yeah, webinar is one form of communication, and communication
Yeah.
requires at least two parties, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Yes. So, so
I
Ashish
think
sir
we
has
do.
given lots of time to us. Uh, uh, so So, okay, so what I'll do, I'll conclude the session. Ashish sir, first of all, a very thankful to you for taking away the time from your busy schedule and giving us the time. I would really thank and give sincere gratitude towards you. So, a tech expertise like you, when they come forward and guide the junior or mid-level developers like us, it's really, we are grateful to have you. And really, it was a wonderful session. You explained everything like how Angular.NET we can be integrated. You showed us the sample of codes, explained dependency injection. You also explained regarding the OORM, EF core, what is the advantage and disadvantage of using business logic in the stored procedures and many things. So we have gained lots of knowledge from you, and we are expecting many more sessions from your side.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
I would also thank to each and everyone for their active participation. And really thank you everyone for staying with us. We will plan few more session with Ashish sir definitely, so that we can have knowledge from it. These all are free session, guys. Just being here is the only fees that we can pay, and showing respect to such senior people. That is the only thing we can have. So if anyone is having any doubt in 5 minutes, then you can say. Otherwise, I'll just switch off the recording and put the recording in the group. Thank you, Ashish sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Ashish, can we have to take any session on the system designing level?
Yes,
As
yes,
you are
definitely.
like a
Yeah,
past Microsoft people, so I would like to
yeah. I think you can go through the like what do you call it, my profile. So you can go to any skill set from my profile. You can give me the list. I can take a session on it.
Okay. Do you have any kind of like an common specific question which is mostly usable in the system designing level? Okay.
Uh,
So means like an LLD and HLD level both side. So if you
yeah.
have
So
anything like
normally
an
what happens? So
data,
when I
suppose
take
if you are having if suppose you have data, so if suppose you have consolidated anything, so that you can share within the group as well.
sure, definitely. But normally, what I'll tell you. So whenever I get like an interview for some companies or kind of my company as well, and like as a help to the people, so they come to me and so they want to prepare the mock interview. So they gave me the JD. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So based on JD, I prepare the question. Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
anywhere the requirement is based on the JD. So I prepare the
Mm-hmm.
interview question based on JD. It's not just based on the concept. Based on the
Mm-hmm.
JD, I prepare the questions and I take an interview. So if someone like need a help in that case as well, they can reach to me.
No, as you have attended like and you are a ex Microsoft people, so
Correct.
that is the reason. As I know, okay, when we go with like any kind of like an FANG organization, we have to make sure with ASD. So when
Yes.
you attended an interview, so as I'm understanding, you have given a 2 round of interview with SD, LLD, and HLD with a Microsoft.
Hmm.
So at that point of view, I'm asking, do you have any kind of like a consolidated list or what kind of resources you followed for the system designing that you can share in the group?
Sure, sure. I'll share that in group. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So whenever you go with that any LLD, HLD, so specifically they have there any bottleneck kind of things with any designing in the database level, or how it is that do you have any
Yeah.
idea?
So it goes from each layer, even like designing a solution on front end, designing solution on back end, and designing solution database. At each
Mhm,
level, the designing is important. Okay, how do you
mhm.
design a database? That is also more important. How do you use normalization? Whether to choose normalization, whether not to choose normalization. That also. So design is not only for the back end. It is for the complete system.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
recently actually I failed in a two Intuit and the Goldman Nash interview in the system designing.
Hmm.
So I went through the lots of things. I have already went through the best resources from the like a book level as well. So
Hmm.
not specifically in the YouTube channel. So I mostly
Yeah.
prefer
So
like a
so
book through like a reference kind of the things. So but there is a conceptual things with like kind of when they come up with like an any design concept. So when we are having like an any API level questioning for the people, so go with like an latency through the any architecture wise and
mhm.
scalability with any architecture wise. So we are actually failing to be answered on that case. Like some
Yes.
people they have to be go to asking like how the
Yeah,
data
we
will be
I
approached
think
like multiple requested coming kind of the things in the API wise.
yeah, I think one session we can put where we can discuss what are the questions you cannot answer in the interview. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that will help you to exact get a solution for the exact questions. Okay, we can have a
Okay.
specific session which will give it, like we can have a what are the question set that you failed to answer. We can discuss those.
Okay. So how
Yeah,
many year you have spent in the Microsoft?
4.5 years.
4.5 years. So might be then you will be having a good exposure on the SD.
Yes.
So so then you can try to take it any session on the SD specifically only
Yeah,
for the SD.
yes, I can take.
No. So whenever you get a time, you just share those some
Yeah,
resources, like a base kind of the
sure,
resources,
sure.
and what kind of like kind of questioning will be going to be asked in the SD kind of initial level, and like an a prospectively like an a extensible kind of with a each layer, like an a front end, back end with a database kind of.
Sure, sure.
Yes, yes, Rupesh. See, if people show active participation, we are planning those because we have a huge pool of skilled people with us. The problem is like people are not showing that level of interest. So like I also need some efforts to like call the guest and ask the people to join. So that's why if people are showing active participation, I have lots of people with me so that I can align.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so the next session would be of DSA, next week, obviously, on the Saturday, Sunday, and I'll do that. So,
Who will be
okay,
taking
sir.
that DSA?
I'll share the name and everything regarding that person
Do you
on the
have any
group.
means like an, any other people are there from our group or how? Because
No,
I
no,
was
yes, yes, yes,
was
yes, go
also
ahead.
I was also supposed to be take the DSA session from the January 1st of week.
Okay, okay, no issues. Like we can discuss, I'll discuss with you and we'll align.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah,
Just let me
I'll
know
definitely.
any other
Yeah,
people
yeah.
in our
You
group.
just
Those
DM me.
are like an
My number is always available on WhatsApp. You just DM me. We'll speak and we'll schedule it as a. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
Yes. Thank you,
Here
Ashish
your
sir, for
no,
your
number
time.
is not visible. So could you please
Where? No, on community, I actually on which group you're in? First, second, or third?
I'm on the I think in the three group I'm
Third group.
yeah, let me check. I have a two kind of the thing. Okay. Mhm. Two also I have, three also I have, one also I have. Both I think.
I have just put in high in the third group. Just you can DM me. We'll
What's
contact.
your
No
name
issues.
of the
We'll contact. Sushant.
Yeah, shall I leave, guys? Yeah,
Okay,
thank
Ashish
you.
sir.
is
Thank you.
there?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sushant. Thank you, Ashish. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
सुशांत मला वाटलं तू महादेव लिहिलेला आहे म्हणून मी विचारत होतो. म्हटलं हा नवीन मीपल कोण आहे.
नाही विषय काय माहितीये का आपल्यापाशी टीमचा सबस्क्रिप्शन माझ्या मित्राचा आहे
ओके
त्यामुळं ते आपल्यापाशी सबस्क्रिप्शन नाही आलं
ओके
त्यामुळे मी त्याचं सबस्क्रिप्शन वर हे करतो